Hello and welcome to Europe in an Italian Minute. It's now almost a year, or a little bit over a year, since the Italian government of Matteo Renzi took over the presidency of the European Council, and about 18 months since the Renzi government came to power. So it might be a useful time to stop and take a look at where Italy's Europe policy is, and where its position on major European questions are, and how successful it's been, not successful, what's going on. As you may recall, Renzi took over, and the Renzi government took over the presidency in the wake of a triumphant electoral victory in the European parliamentary elections. Renzi went on saying he was the head of the largest party in the European Parliament, and this gave him a certain credibility, raised expectations about the Italian presidency, and about perhaps Italy being a new player in Europe and in the European Union. Here was a fresh face bringing fresh ideas. What we've seen in the last couple of weeks in Italy is a number of commentaries in the Italian press about how Italy seems to be really at the margins of major decision-making moments recently in the European Union. And if we go back, we'll see there were two big issues that the Italian government had placed at the center of its presidency. One of them was changing the terms of economic governance and promoting economic growth, and the second one was immigration. On the first question, we can say that perhaps not that much has happened. The Juncker plan, the Italian presidency took a great deal of credit for it, but we know that so far it's been quite limited. On the immigration question, not much more needs to be said. Italy seems to be alone. So what seems to be going on here, and why does Italy seem to be on the margins of decision making? I think we can identify a number of factors. One of them has to do with factors outside Italy's control. The Greek crisis has become so important, and that seems to give a lot of space to the international institutions like the IMF, and perhaps member states are on the margins. And the immigration question is something that no one seems to be able to control, and everybody wants to run away from it. And there's not very much any Italian government could have done anything about. Second reason seems to be has to do with domestic Italian politics, and a lot of it has to do with internal to the Partito Democratico, Renzi's own party. He's spending a lot of time and a lot of energy having to fight internal battles, trying to bring about a reform agenda, but also trying to change the dynamics within his own party. And a lot of what happens at the European level is really just a continuation of internal battles. And that's never a winning strategy, because it's no way to win over allies in the European Union. A third reason has to do with perhaps strategic errors, or at least tactical errors on the part of the Italian government. Perhaps Italy pointed a great deal on getting Federica Mogherini as the High Representative for CFSP. Maybe it would have been more useful to Italy to have had a major economic portfolio. We can argue about that, but some say that's a tactical error, because it means that at the important negotiating tables, Italy is not there, and the economic governance issues in the long run have a number of important consequences for Italy. But perhaps more than anything is the fact that to be at the table and not to be at the margins, you need to have credibility. You need to be able to have your house in order. And I think this is one of the things that the Renzi government has understood with its major reform agenda. Whether it can carry it out or not is something that remains to be seen. But until Italy's economic house is in order, and until it can be at the table saying, we are not Greece, and everybody believes that, or everybody believes or isn't worried that Italy will be the next Greece, then in all likelihood, it's not going to be at the table with France and Germany negotiating with the Greek government, because the French and German governments might be worried that one day it might be the Italian government at the other side of the table. So it really hones in on the fact that with the euro and in the economic climate and in the political climate after the crisis, your credibility counts, and you really need to get your house in order if you want to be a major player. Whether that's acceptable and whether that's what you need within your own domestic politics, that's something completely different, as the Greek government is discovering as it's trying to struggle with the crisis. Grazie.